Good morning. Bucket Talks this morning on a cloudy day. Sitting out here anticipating that it's going to rain, but that's okay. But it makes little dark shadows on my eyes. So we're going to do the live feed today from the bucket outside, and I want to talk about white space. I read a fascinating article this weekend, Saturday, while I was sitting in the Waffle House having a cup of coffee. And I'll talk about why the Waffle House is so important in just a minute, because it's part of my white space, and I'll talk about white space. But I read an article on the design elements that are killing conversions in e-com websites. And so I took that, I tested out some of the things that I pulled from that. There's some fascinating things in there. I'm going to take 4 of those 7 things that were mentioned because they apply regardless. Hey, Chris. Hey, Art, Larry, all of you who are joining me. I've missed some of you as you've scrolled through here, but that's okay. You know how I care about you. I'm glad to share this morning. So yes, we're back on the bucket this morning, Art. So let's talk about white space. Sitting in the Waffle House, and I'm having a cup of coffee, and I'm reading an article, and I'm relaxing. When I'm here, I focus on work. When I am there, I focus on relaxing. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to shut everything off. Doesn't mean I'm going to turn off my brain. Doesn't mean I'm going to do those things. But I relax while I'm there. And that's part of my white space. So read this article. This article has 7 things that are killing conversions on e-com sites. And the very first one, the number one problem, is the lack of white space. And I thought, I've been telling people that for years. Make sure you include white space. I read people's stuff all the time. Every day I read multiple articles written by multiple people, many of whom are aspiring to become authors, many of them who are aspiring to create content that's going to be on their website, or create content that's going to be in their ebook, or create content that they're going to do something with in a lead magnet, or copy that they're using to sell their lead magnet, whatever it is. And the number one problem is it doesn't have white space. I tell people all the time, white space is valuable. It is the most important thing that you can have. It allows the reader's eye to breathe. And then that morning, I see a Facebook post, that was 42 lines long without a break. I'm reading it on an iPhone. Who wants to do that? Not me. I don't want to read 42 lines. My eyes need to rest. All right, the white space is valuable. White space is important. So from a design standpoint, on a website, on an ebook, whatever it is that you're doing, if you don't have white space, you're not giving people an opportunity to be able to enjoy the experience of reading your content. You're not writing for an encyclopedia. You're not writing for an encyclopedia that was written in 1917. You're writing for today's world, that's used to a Twitter post, all right? And limited to 140 characters. Today it's 240 characters, but nevertheless, white space is so important. So from a business standpoint, if you're going to promote yourself, you've got to have some white space. You've got to have some space so people can understand what you have. I tell people all the time, the difference between a blob of ink and a beautiful poem is white space. It's the space between the ink that allows the words to develop. It allows the words to come out. It allows the poem to be created. It's the white space. If you don't have white space, you have a design problem, serious design flaw. I thought it was interesting that the number one issue that was pointed out in that article was the lack of white space. I've been telling people that for a long, long time. White space is what makes a difference. Now, let's move from the white space in a design element to the white space in your business. I start out. Everything I do goes in white space. It's blank. It's just white space. Then I start to build things on top of it. Put things on top of that white space. And that's where the magic comes from. But you start with the white space. And in your life, literally in your life, you need to have white space. It's the white space. It's that downtime. It's that relaxation that gets filled up. It's like my blank page. If I don't have blank pages occasionally, then I don't have anything to fill up. I get an opportunity, and I tell you all about this when I do. I get an opportunity to go spend some time with my grandson. He's 5. He's 5. He's my white space. He's my opportunity to relax and to clear the canvas so that you can fill it back up with other things. Nothing causes you to be more creative than spending time with a 5-year-old. The only exception to that is spending time with 2 teenage girls, or now 3 teenage girls, because they have an interesting perspective on life, a perspective that I oftentimes need to hear. And it allows that white space that I call that my time with them, my white space in my own personal life. Driving down the road, my trip to go there is white space. And then that white space gets filled up with other things. If you're not taking time to put some white space into your life, if you're always busy, if you're always pressing, if you're always focusing on this thing or that thing that needs to be accomplished, you don't have enough white space. Shut my laptop. Don't shut my phone, but I shut my laptop and I drive over to the Waffle House, which is a mile away. Sit in there and have a cup of coffee. White space. Get in my car and I drive to see one of my grandkids. It's white space. And it's amazing what happens in that white space that you can't do anywhere else. Sometimes you got all of the noise and the clutter and the stuff, and you don't allow enough white space. You don't have an empty spot that you can fill up. You don't have an empty spot that you can fill up. And you need to have some empty spots that the words get formed on, and those valuable words get placed in that white space. That's where the magic happens. I was reading an article this morning on the reason why people don't get conversions, and it's because they don't leverage white space. This white space thing is so important. I can't tell you how important it is, whether you're creating content or if you're creating creativity in your life. You have to have white space. Can't press it enough. Don't fill it all up. Leave some blank spaces so that people can enjoy what you've created. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's in your business. Don't write 42 lines long. I've seen paragraphs that are 27 lines long. It's like, what are you doing when you do that? Give some white space. If there's one mistake that we all make, it's not enough white space. Rather, it's literally in my content or figuratively in my life. We need to make sure that we have white space, that we take some white space. Had I not taken my white space time at the Waffle House to have a cup of coffee, clear my head, read a little article, I would have missed how valuable white space really is. Take that white space. Take your white space in your content. Give room for it. Josh just joined us. Josh wrote a brilliant article one day. A brilliant article. And I looked at it and I saw this great combination of amazing content and white space. And I commented to him that I loved the way he wrote the article because it allowed me to be able to enjoy it. White space in your content allows you to be able to enjoy it. White space in your life allows you to be able to enjoy it. Whether you're taking 9 teenagers and going to a rescue mission to work, that was my white space. Or taking the time to go see a grandson or a granddaughter, that's white space. And the white space allows you to become incredibly creative. It's valuable. Don't miss the value of the white space. It was talking about conversions on e-com sites, but it's true for all of us. And it's a great philosophy for your life, white space. I love you. Thank you for joining me today. Enjoy some white space in your life, and you'll be glad you did.